Then you see a pack of Hell's Angels going by, people are going to want to look. Next thing you know, cars. Because they're just staring at us and not paying attention to stop traffic.
If you wanted to break the law on an everyday norm, you should have joined a street gang. That's what they're known for. That's what they do. You're not allowed to steal cars on my block. We steal those cars.
I mean, it was so bad by us in Vegas. I was in the pool swimming, and the guys came back. Hey, Pee-wee, the cops are here. They want to talk to you. I said, well, go talk to them. Find out what they want. And they came back. They go, they want to talk to you.
Typically, if you leave the club, if you haven't been in for 10 years, you're automatically out back.
Got put out in 2006. Back in 2007, wound up going into Cannon. 2011. Came out of there. I had 4.5 years to walk off with zero support from that club.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today we're talking about a murder and the conviction of 4 pagans. So this involves the Pagans Motorcycle Club and a crazy murder. We're going to get into this case. Before we get started, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We've got a lot of great content on the way. Make sure you guys go check out My Fight, Our War with Manny Vitale. I'm going to put a link in the chat. Go check out his channel. Let's help him get to 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate everyone that takes the time to watch this show. So this is a wild story. We are going to talk about this guy. So I'm going to talk about how this case transpired, and then we'll get into what happened. West Virginia, Carolina, West Virginia. A Fremont man has been charged with first-degree murder after officers said he was connected to a murder in September. Following an extensive investigation, 33-year-old John Wolfe of Fairmont planned and initiated the shooting death of Henry Silver on September 9th, according to the criminal complaint. Officers said Wolfe, a member of the Pagans Motorcycle Club, learned of a hidden relationship involving his significant other in Silver, and he monitored it over a period of time. So that's insane. Maybe this person that he ended up killing was involved with his girl or whatever. On September 9th, Wolfe allegedly had a meeting in Fairmont with at least 5 other individuals, where a statement indicates that Henry Silver was discussed. Court documents says evidence shows that 5 of the people at the meeting were wearing Pagan Motorcycle Club vests when they arrived. That's a bad thing. Later in the evening on September 9th, officers said Silver arrived at the apartment of Wolfe's significant other in Carolina while not knowing Wolfe was there. After a verbal confrontation between them, Silver went to the parking lot. Silver reportedly returned to the home at least 2 other times and exchanged words with Wolfe. During this time, Wolfe called another member of the motorcycle club. 2 members of the motorcycle club showed up at the home, and Wolfe identified Silver to them. So he said, hey, he's right there. Officers said one of the men was wearing a ski mask, left the apartment, and shot Silver before leaving the scene. Wolfe also left the scene before officers arrived. Wolfe was charged with first-degree murder and was being held at the North Regional Jail, and his bond was $512,000. I don't know why they would put $500,000 and 12. What the hell? So now this is the new article. Fremont, West Virginia. One of the 6 men arrested for the 2022 Pagans Motorcycle Club murder in Marion County was sentenced to spend decades in prison for his role in the crime. Austin Mullins, 28, was sentenced to spend 40 years in prison for second-degree murder of Henry Silver. He was also sentenced by Judge Matthew Delligatti to spend 10 years in prison for his use of a firearm during the commission of a felony, 5 years on recidivist. So he's a persistent offender, so he got 5 years for that. However, despite the prosecution requesting the sentences run consecutively, and what that means is you will handle one sentence, you'll handle the 40 years, and then you'll start serving a 10-year sentence. After that, you'll start serving a 5-year sentence. But so the judge wasn't having that. So he sentenced him to concurrent, not consecutive. So concurrent means it runs at the same time. Silver was shot and killed on September 9, 2022 in the Carolina area in Marion County. John Wolfe, a member of the Pagans Motorcycle Club, learned of a hidden relationship involving Silver and his girlfriend. Deputies allege that Wolfe then conspired with other members of the club, including Mullins, to murder Silver. Wolfe was found guilty of Silver's murder in April 2024 and sentenced to life in prison for the first-degree murder in June of 2024. 2 other people involved in the crime, Derek Clem and Dane Hall, are scheduled on Tuesday, April 1st, which is today. During a separate jury trial, Clem was found guilty of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit a felony. Hall was found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder and use of a firearm during the commission of a felony. However, after the juries deliberated for about 5 hours, Hall was found not guilty of first-degree murder. The 6th man who was arrested, Ryan Lane, has been indicted in 2 separate occasions for his role in the case on October 2024 and February 2025. However, he has not yet stood trial. Lane was arrested after texting Wolfe about the situation and saying that they needed to handle that beep, according to courtroom documents. So this is a crazy case. It says, man in Marion County Motorcycle Club gang shooting sentenced. This is another article. One of the men convicted of the 2022 murder of Henry Silver in Carolina, West Virginia, will serve at least 40 years for his role in the killing. Austin Mullins, 28. He's only 28. His whole life is gone. 40 years. You're 28 years old. You go to prison for 40 years. You're 68 when you get out. And even if, which I don't think you'll get good time because it's a violent murder with a gun. I don't know if they'll make him serve day for day, but his whole life is gone. And them other 6 people charged in the case, their life's gone too. So it says he's one of the 6 people charged in the case. The group, all from the Pagans Motorcycle Club, had a meeting where they discussed killing Silver on September 9, 2022. The members of the Pagan, they shot him and then they fled the scene, according to documents. Mullins was sentenced in Fairmont on Monday to 40 years in prison, 10 years for use of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and 5 years for recidivist charge. That means a persistent offender. It means he probably got arrested quite a bit. Although prosecution asked for the sentence to be served consecutively, he agreed to run it concurrently. John Wolfe, who was convicted of first-degree murder in the case, has already been sentenced to life. Derek Clem, blah, blah, blah. I got a video to play with this. Shout out to everybody that's coming in. Lindsay, how are you? Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you taking the time to watch the show. Chunky Chunko, what's going on, man? Thanks for watching. Mountain Woman, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. Chunky Chunko, shout out to you, man. So let's take a look at this video.
The men involved in the 2022 Pagan Motorcycle Gang murder of Henry Silver was back in Marion County Circuit Court today. Last year, 29-year-old Dan Hall was convicted of conspiracy and the use of a firearm during a felony. Today, as part of a recidivist hearing, Hall admitted to being convicted of felony fleeing from an officer with reckless indifference in March of 2021 in Ritchie County. He will be sentenced on this charge at a later date. In the meantime, he's serving a sentence in the Mount Olive Correctional Center.
In crime news, one of the men convicted in the 2022 motorcycle gang murder of Henry Silver in Marion County learned his sentence today. Circuit Judge Matthew Delligatti sentenced 28-year-old Austin Mullins to 40 years for second-degree murder, 10 years for a gun charge, and 5 years for being a recidivist. The prosecution asked that the judge have Mullins serve those sentences one after another. Judge Delligatti ended up deciding that Mullins will serve those sentences at the same time. Two other defendants in the case, Derek Clem and Dane Hall, are scheduled to be sentenced tomorrow.
A man was sentenced to decades in prison for a 2022 Pagan Motorcycle Club murder in Marion County. Austin Mullins was sentenced to spend 40 years in prison this morning for his involvement in the murder of Henry Silver. Silver was shot and killed in the Carolina area of Marion County on September 9th, 2022. John Wolfe, a member of the Pagan Motorcycle Club, learned of a hidden relationship involving Silver and his girlfriend. Deputies alleged that Wolfe then conspired with other members of the club, including Mullins, to murder Silver. In addition to spending 40 years in prison for second-degree murder, Judge Delligatti also sentenced Mullins to 10 years for the use of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and 5 years on a recidivist charge. All sentences run concurrently. Two other men involved in the crime, Derek Clem and Dane Hall, are scheduled to appear in court tomorrow, April 1st.
Hey, it just shows your whole life can be gone like that. Hey, Manny Vitale, shout out to you, man. Make sure you guys go subscribe to his show. He's almost there at 1,000, so go over there and subscribe. The link is in the chat. Shout out to Manny. We just finished up an interview. He interviewed me in person over the weekend on Sunday. It was a great experience. It was really, really a good time. Sunbird, how are you? 40 years over a woman, right? Pretty much never be with a woman again. Hey, I mean, what do you do in that situation? You find out some dude is, your girl's having a relationship with someone else. Whose fault is it? Is it hers or his? I think it's more her fault. Because she's the one carrying on behind your back, having a relationship with someone. She gets to walk away scot-free. The other dude's dead. This dude's in jail. She just on to the next one, right? Just crazy. Make sure you think about things before you do them. You know what I mean? It could change your whole life. Throw your whole life away. Now, all these dudes are going to prison for a long time over one person. And for them to be wearing their cuts when they pull up to the scene, they're all wearing their cuts. And then they go and take them off and then come back. Come on, man. Number one, don't get involved with this type of stuff. I mean, it's possible to be involved with Motorcycle Club and not be involved with the bullshit like this. It sounds to me like one of them guys sucked the other guys in, and now look at them. Now their whole life is done. Hell no, that'd never be me. But we got a lot of content. There's so many things going on. We're going to talk about this guy. So this guy is a professional golfer now, but he was a part of the Rebels Motorcycle Club, and he changed his whole life. We're going to talk about that. So here we'll go over a little bit of this. Former biker gang member who was jailed for assault turns his life around by earning a tour card, whatever the hell that means. Ryan Pike's life spiraled out of control after joining an outlaw biker gang, being jailed for assault. But the Australian has turned his life around, securing a DP World Tour membership on Sunday. The 31-year-old was highly touted amateur and a teammate of the 2022 Open champion, Cameron Smith, but he joined the illegal Rebels Motorcycle Club 11 years ago. Soon after, he was convicted of assault and spent 5 years in prison for dealing serious injuries to a man who supposedly threatened the gang. Come on. Who is stupid enough to threaten an outlaw motorcycle club? He threatened the gang. It appeared his charges for forging a career in golf were long gone. But a phone call from his former coach, Richie Smith, when he was in prison, would get Pike's life back on track. The West Australian, who made his Australian Open debut at just age 17, agreed to recommit to the sport. It has been a long road back for Pike, but his turnaround is complete after a month he will never forget. First, he won the New Zealand Open to earn a spot in the Open champion at the Royal Portrust in July. And the ranking point he earned from that result put him in a great position to finish in the top 2 of the PGA Tour in Australia's Order of the Merit. After finishing in 10th place in the national tournament in Gunamanta, Victoria, Pike secured a 2nd place in the Order of Merit behind young talent Elvis Smiley. Smiley's win at the Australian PGA Championship already secured him a card in Europe. So Pike, Anthony Quayle were the men rewarded with the DP World Tour membership for the 2026 season. It just solidifies the fact of why I came back to the game and gave it all another run, Pike said of his future in the DP World Tour. Pike, after finishing at 14 under par, 5 shot adrift of winner Harrison Crow, absolutely with words of encouragement, which everyone knows from certain people, Richie Smith, my family, and all that. It just shows that I have proved myself right in the making the right decision to come back and play and give it another go. It will take a little while before I start getting on the road and start playing these events, that it will kind of really sink in then. I'm just excited to get it going. Pike opened up on his prison experience on a Tee Up podcast in 2023. It's kind of like a bad day on the golf course, he said. If things aren't going right, you have to finish your round. And it's all the same as jail. You just have to finish it as much as you do or don't like it. And it's there. And then you just can't just go home. In addition to the up-and-coming DP World Tour membership, Pike also has the playing privileges on the Asian Tour thanks to New Zealand's Open win. Although his criminal record could inhibit his playing opportunities due to visa issues. So that could stop him from going over to Asia and all that. But still, he turned his whole life around, and it just goes to show you this guy goes from being in prison to winning one of the most prestigious golf championships in Australia. So it shows you don't give up. You can change your life around, and you can do anything that you put your mind to. Hey, Biker News Canada, how are you? Thank you for joining me today. Appreciate you. Craig, what's going on? Who made charges? Yeah, we talked about the Pagans earlier. Go check it out. Rewind it and check out. This guy was just sentenced to 40 years, the guy on the left, for murder. Caught a guy with his girlfriend. One of these guys caught the guy with his girlfriend. I think it's the guy on the right, to tell you the truth, is the one that caught the guy with the girlfriend. Threw his whole life away. But you can, I mean, not that guy. It's kind of a little too late for that guy. So he's just going to spend the next 40 years in prison. He'll either do the right thing in prison, or he won't make it out alive, or he'll get out when he's 68. And I don't know what kind of life you have when you do 40 years in prison. You get out when you're 68. Well, how much life do you really have left? Not too much. But this guy did 5 years in prison, goes on to win a golf championship. Now he's in a world tour. That's insane. It's a crazy comeback story. And it just goes to show you that don't give up no matter what. We've got to talk stacks, get each other's. Yeah, definitely, Biker News Canada. Email me. Here, I'll put my email. Make sure you email me. We'll handle that. So I got a lot of interviews dropping. I got a bunch with the Heathens Motorcycle Club. I interviewed a whole bunch of their members, and those are going to be dropping a little later in the week. We have the Death Marauders. Shout out to Richie. Shout out to Wayne. And people are really enjoying the Death Marauders interview. Go check that out. I think it's a 6-part Death Marauders one. And then I have a whole bunch. I have a new guy that I just interviewed. Insane story. He's living in Thailand right now. I asked him if the earthquake affected him, and he said no. It was a lot of miles from where he is in Thailand. Hey, Mark, what's going on? Thanks for joining me today. Shout out to everybody on this April Fool's Day. Don't be fooled. Make sure you email me, Biker News, and we'll definitely make that happen. There's a lot of Canadian stuff I'm going to be talking about, like the Lennox Purge. I'm going to be talking about that soon in the coming weeks. And I have some pretty unique shows I'm going to be doing. Joe Blunts, what's going on, my friend? Shout out to you guys. Thank you for taking the time and watching my show. Shout out to Manny Vitale. Make sure you guys go check out his podcast. He gets a lot of good people on the show. He's at 700 and something subscribers. Let's get him to 1,000. If you can't share the video, make sure you subscribe, put the bell on all. I'm going to be dropping so much content. Shout out to all the people in the Heathens Motorcycle family that came on the show. I have so many interviews dropping. I have such a big catalog. It's insane how many interviews I've been doing lately. I got Hazmat coming up next. If you guys haven't seen the interview with Coyote, go check that out. And then I got Thomas. His name is Thomas. And then I got Leonard Bushel. He has a book called High. That's an insane interview. And then I have a show with Larry Levine. If you guys don't know who that is, he is on Court TV. He's on Fox News. He's on CNN. And we talked about Chuck Zito's Rule 35. And what does that mean? And he breaks it all down. You guys don't want to miss that. Very cool. I'm no expert, but I was in a 1% club 20 years ago. I will help you with what you need, the Canadian stuff. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely email me. Email me soon. We'll talk today, and we'll set it up. Shout out to Misfit from the Heathens Motorcycle family. Shout out to Hazmat, and shout out to Get Out. Those are all the interviews I have dropping. They're all really good interviews, and we're going to be doing more. Craig, what's going on? These young guys don't realize the amount of time because they haven't been alive that long. I've seen so many of these young guys throw their lives away. I was a correctional officer and a sergeant in the New Jersey DOC. Listen, I was in and out of prison for a long time, and I finally got my life together, and I can't even see myself going to prison. And there was one point in my life where I couldn't see myself not going to prison. It was such a routine thing. It was like I always was on probation, or I always was dodging urines and had to go turn myself in. It was a constant cycle that was never going to be broken until I got sober first. And then I started like taking my life serious, because I don't want to be remembered for being a fuck up. Who wants that? I don't want to be that guy. A lot of my friends were passing away, and I don't want to be one of those people. And now people I know are still dying all the time. Every couple of weeks, there'll be another person passed away that I know, and I don't want to be gone that way. There were so many times it could have been me, and thank God I made it out alive. And now I'm just here to show people that you can change. Today can be the first day of the rest of your life. You don't have to keep living in that constant cycle of addiction. I'm not saying it's easy, because it's not easy, but it's definitely worth it. My worst day sober is better than my best day on drugs or drunk. 100%. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And doing this show, it's been a great experience. A lot of doors open too. I meet a lot of great people, and shit, I wouldn't have met Joe Blunts if it wasn't for this show. Always one day at a time. Shout out to you, Lindsay. Thank you for everything you do. I appreciate you. I was always fascinated by Canada. There's a lot of motorcycle clubs up in Canada. You said you were a part of a 1% club. I definitely want to talk to you. The only person I interviewed from Canada, well, I interviewed a couple people from Canada. I interviewed that one guy who They made that movie about him, Most Wanted. I don't know if you've seen that one. I interviewed him. He has a crazy story. And I interviewed the guy who went undercover with the help for the Hells Angels and the mob up there in Canada. That was in like the Niagara Falls area. Go check out that show. It's a pretty good show. I'm going to be going live more often. I'm going to start doing some lives at night and bringing some guests on with me. I'm going to bring some people on that I interviewed in the past. And cool. That's cool, man. Definitely. Yeah, I'll email you back 100%. We'll get it together. Yeah, but I interviewed the guy that they made this show, that movie, Most Wanted. Forgot his name. And they have to change the name in Canada. Here it is. If you're looking for a recent movie titled Most Wanted, you might be referring to the 2020 crime thriller with Joseph Hurnett, which is based on a true story of a Canadian journalist uncovering police corruption in Thailand. It's based on a true story. Investigative reporter fights to expose the twisted truth behind a heroin bust orchestrated by dirty cops to frame an innocent man, sentencing him to life in a Thai prison. The name of the movie in Canada is Number One Target, but they changed the name to Most Wanted. That's the guy I interviewed, is the guy they based this story on. Storyline: ex-heroin junkie Daniel Legger gets involved in a drug deal with the wrong people for the wrong reasons. And these cops go to bust him in Thailand. These, thank you, Mark. These cops go to bust him in Thailand from Canada. And what happens is one of the cops is going to like jump on the truck or something happens like that. And his gun goes off and he shoots his partner and kills him. And they blame it all on this guy. And they sentence him to life in a Thai prison. And he wasn't guilty. So this journalist believed this guy and he helped fight for him and got him out of prison. And he's back in Canada now. And go check out the interview I did with him. Let me see if I could get it. I'll drop the link. Here it is. This is a really good interview. I've interviewed so many people. I have over 5,000 shows. Sometimes I'll do like 5, 10 interviews in one day. It all depends. But I do interviews every single day. I do a live show every single day. Sometimes I'll take the weekend off, Saturday and Sunday, but I'm not taking the weekend off from working because I'm still editing videos. I edit videos every single day. I interview people every day. I do a live show, but I'm going to start like really focusing on different stories, and I'm going to put together a real detailed kind of like a mini documentary. I'm going to edit it. There's going to be pictures, video, and I'm going to explain some of these different stories. One of the first ones I'm going to do is talking about the different gangs in each state of the country, from gangs to motorcycle clubs, and we're going to talk about which ones are in what area of the country. I'm going to talk about every single state. How long have you been at it, bro? 2021. I started doing this in 2021. So I'm going on, what, 4 years? Or I'm going on 5 years, 4 years. Biker news, even harder transition from inmate to citizen. 100%. It is hard to change your life, and but you can do it. It's a hard transition from member to citizen. I'm sure it is. Shit, I was involved in street gangs, going to prison. It was a rough ride. And then how do you walk away from all that? You know? How do you walk away from the adrenaline-filled rush that you used to feel every single day to nothing? So now I put all that hard work that I put into the bullshit I used to do, I work. I put a lot of work in. I edit a lot. I do different things. I'm always progressing and doing something positive to better my life instead of negative, you know? Stay away from negative people. And I just keep grinding every single day. And you can do it too. If you're in a situation where you think your life's not going anywhere, just try to apply yourself in a different situation. Definitely was a rough ride, but it's worth it. Done that too, bro. Kind of did both at once. Retired from the club. Came out. Don't know who I was. Me too, bro. I was searching around for who I was. You have a good story, Bill. Thank you, Mark. I've been 20 plus years and I'm still fixing myself. Yeah, I've been sober for 6 years and I want to change it for nothing. I got sober, got my first bank account, started doing the right thing. Going to meetings, and surround yourself with good people, positive people. Everyone's not your friend. The best friend you have in life is yourself. And now I can be by myself and I'm fine. Before I couldn't do that. I couldn't be by myself. I always wanted to be around dirtbags. No more. No. I'm really good by myself. Comfortable. But I appreciate all you guys. I will be back on maybe later. I got an interview dropping tonight, 10 o'clock. You know the deal. If you can't donate, please share the video. If you can donate, hit up the Cash App and Chatting with Stacks. Or you can do Venmo, PayPal, Super Stickers, Super Chats, Zelle, all that good stuff. I appreciate every single dollar. It helps a lot. Goes a long way. It keeps the show going. Hope you guys have a great day. If you like this show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like this show, start your own podcast. I appreciate everybody and don't be a bitch.
And all new at 5, a major organized crime bust. 23 people under arrest now accused of stealing guns and cash.
Today, police revealed 4 organized crime groups are wreaking havoc.
From aggravated robbery to kidnapping, burglary, and more. Let's take a look at this. New pictures from court documents in this case. These are a few of the people who have been charged. And investigators say the money, tens of thousands of dollars, is all stolen.